Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. It must be Tuesday. I tell you, we're going to have a really good show today. We always do. And I'm really excited about today because I'm actually interviewing with an old friend. And I emphasize the word old, okay? Because we've been knowing each other since the 70s. And I tell you, it is a honor and a privilege to have him on the show today, and we're going to get into some conversations about what he's got going on and what he's doing in the community. So I'm excited about that. Mr. Kendall Parrott is in the house, y'all. He's in the studio. He's in Studio B, and I'm in Studio A, and we're going to be chopping it up today for show. I tell you what I'm gonna need y'all to do. I'm going to be doing my intro, so don't go nowhere. Stick around and stay. All right. First thing I want to do is give a shout out to all of our healthcare heroes, people that have been working in the healthcare industry for so long through this pandemic that they deserve the right to be called heroes. Okay. And I am one person every show. I acknowledge them, I celebrate them, I give them all of the honor that they are due. They have been working without thanks. They've been working with pay, but without thanks through this entire pandemic. And I tell you, they have been doing a great job healing folks, helping them survive whatever illnesses that they have had throughout this pandemic. And I'm here to tell you that we don't thank them enough. So I love shouting them out every show so that they know that there is at least one person that cares about them enough to give them a shout out on every show. Also, like to give a shout out to all of our spiritual leaders. Without our spiritual leaders, sometimes we'll go astray. And I definitely want to give a special shout out to my mentor, Dr. Lloyd Michael Hunt. I tell you, he and I have been together for over 30 years, and I appreciate him for being in my corner, and I have been in his corner, and I definitely pray for him on a daily basis. So if you've got a leader or a mentor, pray for them. There's nothing wrong with praying for them. Okay. Also, I want to encourage everybody to go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. Now, when you get over there, you can scroll up to the top and you'll see all of my social media tabs. You'll see Ask Dr. Ron, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So I want you to definitely go over to all of those tabs, become friends, definitely subscribe and hit the little bell on the YouTube so you can see all of the shows when they're posted right there on the YouTube channel. Okay. And then you can scroll down, you'll see my affiliates. You'll also see all of my advertisers, RRJ Web, Prince Hunter Group, Port Again Sam. These are people that advertise with me that make it possible for me to do what I do right here on the live broadcast. So I definitely appreciate all that you have done to support them. Keep supporting them. We have more advertisers on there. We have Sir Synergy, who has been on there for several months now. And if you have questions about solar energy, click on any one of the tabs, any one of the flyers or the banners, and it'll take you directly to their website so you can learn more information about how you can support them and they supporting me. Okay. So I'm gonna need you guys to do that. So, like I said at the top of the show, I've got an old friend coming on the show. We've been hanging out together for, oh my God, since the middle of the 70s. And Mr. Kendall Parrott is a very good friend. We've had many adventures together. Is another good way of putting it, especially when you're young. You know, when you're young, you do a lot of things, and if you survive it, they become good memories. So let me welcome back to the show because he's been on the show many times before, Mr. Kendall Parrott.
Good evening, Dr. Ron. How are you this evening?
I'm doing fine, sir. Man, it is good to see you, brother, because you ain't been on here in a while, man. I don't think you've been on here this year or last year. Did you come on last year?
No, with the pandemic and everything, I kind of shut down a little bit, but I'm here today and
And I
glad to be here.
appreciate it. And I appreciate that. So, many people may not remember, or it might be a new audience now that are not familiar with some of your legendary status in the South suburban area. Why don't you share with them some of your positions and your expertise in the community?
Well, I'm just a humble public servant. For the past 40 years, I've been working in Parks and Recreation along with education. So I've done everything from being a teacher aide to a teacher to a coach to a park and recreation professional over the past 40 years, and mainly in the South suburban area and mainly in African American communities. I've done grant writing. Right now, I'm doing independent consultant work. I have my own non for profit and just try to stay relevant in the game at this point in time.
So let's talk about some of the communities that you have served. I know as of late it was Dalton, Harvey, Robbins. Did I miss any? I know you were working in some communities up in the northern suburbs as well. With working with some of their parks and grant writing and things of that nature. Did I miss anybody?
Um, Riverdale,
Okay.
Country Club Hills,
Okay.
Hazel Crest, Markham, um, a little bit in Calumet City. So I've
Okay.
kind of been around the South suburban area most of these 40 plus years.
Yeah. Now, weren't you working with some parks in the western suburbs too?
Um, I did some consulting work in Maywood as
Okay.
well as Summit, Illinois, uh, where I was born and raised. So I've been around the block a few times.
Okay. So, would you consider yourself a consultant to the park districts or even some governments, or what would you lean more towards your expertise being your specialty, as you might say?
Grant writing, strategic planning, development of park districts, uh, public policy, strategic planning.
Okay. So, I know some of your current customers rely on you to, be a consultant to them in the south suburbs at the current time, right?
That is correct.
I don't know if I can talk about them or not. So, if it's okay, can I name them or not name them?
That's up to you. I'm transparent.
Okay. So I know you working over in Dalton. That's the one I want to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they all look, man. They getting pressed like every other week, man. What's going on over there, man? I always ask the question, who did she piss off? Because she got more people hunting after her in the media than a little bit, and it ain't fake news. Okay,
Well, well, let me just say this. Anytime that there is a change in public government and a change in perspective, sometimes there are growing pains in the process. So I would say at this point in time, there's just some growing pains, but hopefully um, wiser heads will prevail and know and understand that it's about serving the public and bringing those resources and ideas and strategies to improve the quality of life in the community. So I
Okay.
would just say at this time there are growing pains, but hopefully um, it will move in the right direction for the residents.
Okay. Yeah, because it's ultimately they're the ones that benefit from who their public servants are.
That is correct.
Yeah, and it's not about who's on first, who's on second, who's the baddest, who's not the baddest. It's all about trying to make sure that the services that the community are supposed to be getting and having it on a high level, not on a low level, but on a high level, are getting what they're supposed to get. Now I know when you were working over at which are two separate entities, by the way, the Dalton Park District and the Dalton City Government are two separate entities. And I know in the past, sometimes they were always at odds with each other, um, for various reasons, depending on who's in charge. But now it looks as though they have come together. They're not fighting each other as much as they used to. But I know that you ran the Park District or advised the Park District on ways to go to try and further some of the developments of that park district community. You and I've had many conversations over the years about it, and it's sometimes it can be kind of rough, with trying to keep a functional park in place because, older people, I ain't gonna say kids, older people have done damage to the parks that you got to repeatedly fix over and over and over again. So, I applaud you on, your efforts and putting in place things that can residually continue to prosper in those areas. So you want to speak about some of that? I know I said a whole lot about it already.
Well, while I was there as the grant administrator, we were very fortunate enough to bring in over $10 million in capital improvement grants uh, for a for one of the older park districts in the state of Illinois. Um, and by that, we did the things that were necessary to transform how the park looked as well as how the park functioned. So those things are in place now. They will be there for years to come. And we just hope that the residents utilize them and know that these things are of value to the community. And it also brings about an increased value in properties in those surrounding park areas.
Yeah. Now, some of the problems that they were having, I want to kind of touch on that a little bit and how you were able to impede them from continuously occurring. A few years back when you were over there, the big kids would burn the park equipment to the ground. So the little kids didn't have nothing to play on. It would be a fire in the middle of the night, and it would be the park equipment. So how were you able to resolve some of that from continuously happening?
We worked with the insurance company and we worked with the residents in those local neighborhood parks to let them know that every time that there's damage and there's vandalism, your property insurance goes up. So, with that, in the long run, if it burns up, you're going to pay for it. I mean, the
Hmm.
park district is not going to pay for it. That cost is going to be passed along to you. So, letting them know and understand the value of the park district and the playgrounds, people started um, taking more attention and identifying those things and understand that this is a value to the community. We had public meetings to address those things, and the board of commissioners were very proactive in getting that word out in the community that um, you're going to have to pay for this. Um, and it doesn't make sense to deface some property that belongs to the public. The park
Mm-hmm.
district is a public entity that is run by tax dollars. So this is your money that you're literally throwing away. So
Mm-hmm.
once we sent that message, there started to be a change in the trend of uh, keeping and taking care of the property that belongs to the public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shout out to Donald Green all the way over in Arizona. He's tuned in. We got Christina Walls down in Central Illinois, and Miss Denise right here in Chicagoland area that's tuned in. Thank you for joining the show. Mr. Kendall Parrott, community activist, consultant, campaign manager. Didn't you help so many people get elected and with campaign being campaign manager for some folks too?
Well, not so much campaign manager, but worked on strategies for successful campaign runs. Uh, we are going to be doing the same thing in this next election cycle. We hope that the candidates that call upon us to work with them, that we get them across the finish line.
Okay. So, do you got any favorites coming up in the next election? So, which will start when? I know today is election day, and in a lot of places, it's not here though. I don't think we have an election going on here.
Well,
Uh,
we'll have some elections coming up next year.
okay.
Um, I won't say who's a favorite right now because people are deciding to throw their name in the hat and see what's what. So let's wait about another 90 days to see how many other people want to ascend to the level of public office and see if they are successful in their endeavors.
Okay. All right. Now, you and I, friend, is so interesting. I've been seeing it all over the place. Bernard, every time I look around, he say he gonna quit, but then now he's running for another office. He's running for commissioner on the county board. So I know he had his launch about a couple of weeks back,
Correct.
and yeah, but he said I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna retire, and then he go find another position to run for. Good brother, good friend. I love him to death. So I know that Sims was the commissioner for this area. Is she retiring, or do you have any information on that?
Yes, she is retiring. She is not running for another term. So the fifth district of the Cook County Commissioners is will be an open and vacant seat for an opportunity for someone to sit and serve.
Hmm. Is that going to be a crowded race or limited race? Everybody's scared to go up against Bernard because every time he run for something, he get it. You know.
Well, I'll just say this: there's a lot of chatter.
Uh huh.
Um, Chatter is not movement. Movement will probably come right after Christmas and the first of the year. So we'll see who's going to get into this race.
Okay.
It will be a race.
Okay. All right. So, along with being, keeping your ear to the ground, being a consultant, a grant writer, what are some of the other things that you wear a hat doing? I know that you were um, at one time, dealing with like just last night, sitting in on a board meeting because you're doing consulting for them. But you have some things going on in Robbins too. What's that about?
Yes, we're working at Robbins, working with the Park District to um, move the needle forward, so to speak, to expand the footprint of the Park District in the community. Looking at uh, putting in more park sites, working with the current administration to make sure that kids have viable playgrounds in the community where they don't have to cross a major street, and just do some building uh, that's needed within the community and the park district. Oftentimes, in our smaller African American communities where there are limited resources, we have to do things and be a little more creative because the value of those residents is just as valuable as someone lives in North Chicago or Highwood or Lake Forest. So we have to look at and do things that will be a significant impact to the quality of life to those residents in those communities. So it's just basically being at the table to um, offer those opportunities to those residents.
Mhm. Now, is the park district under the rule of the city government, or are they a separate entity in Robbins?
Separate taxing body.
Okay. So like most of the park districts that have their own separate identity, like school boards, things like that, but they have influences from the city government as well. So like they tell them what to do mostly. Is that same situation there?
Well, it's about collaborating. It's about working together and maximizing the resources that you have to make the most significant impact in the community. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and when you talk about writing grants and working together, one of the biggest things that funders want to see is who are you partnering with, who are you collaborating with, and what is going to be the end result to change the dynamics within the community.
Yeah. Now one category of your expertise that I have not touched on yet is lobbyists, because I know you will jet down to Springfield or jet down to Washington D.C. to be a lobbyist on behalf of your clients and or park districts in general. So let's talk about that. I know the word lobbyist sometimes comes out as a sinister character that's telling people what to do. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Lobbyists are basically the go getters, sit down in front of legislators, find out where money is, find out what bills that have been passed where there's money that will benefit a particular clientele, or community, and working with those legislators to ensure that when funding becomes available, it is filtered um, to those particular communities or areas.
Hmm.
It's not a bad thing. Uh, there's a lot of work involved. You have to develop relationships with legislators. They have to entrust in you as you entrusted them uh, to be able to deliver to those communities or areas that need the funding, and making sure that you use the funds um, that are allocated to you.
Hmm. So all lobbyists are not villains.
I don't know of any are.
Well, when the media, mainstream media, they talk about lobbyists, they talk about the big dogs in the lobbyist arena. Like the lobbyists for the energy companies. They're always, trying to lobby for an increase, and they get their increase based on whatever buttons they're able to push, in order to get that legislators to bring that bill before and allow for it to happen. So sometimes lobbyists have a tendency to be overly aggressive for their campaign or their cause. So that's where they get that stigma of being, villains, because if you win your cause or your campaign, then that's more money out of my pocket. I ain't really too happy about you, because they
that that's
go ahead.
understandable,
Uh huh.
but you also have to look at two um, bills and legislation is very, I don't want to say complex, um, but sometimes you have those lobbyists or individuals that are looking at what's in it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And usually those individuals that look at it, what's in it for me, they usually have problems. When you do it and know that it's going to make a positive impact, not necessarily a popular impact, but a
Mm-hmm.
positive impact, then you know you've done a good job, and the compensation will go for the efforts that you do.
Mm-hmm. So you paint a picture of guys with a white hat, not a black hat.
Well, I'll just say this: it depends on what day of the week and, and who's doing the talking.
I hear you, bro. I hear you. Yeah. Now, what other? Because I know you're up around my age group. So, what other career aspirations do you got going on? As far as I know, you still ain't gonna never stop writing grants. You always in the middle of trying to put something together for somebody. So, what else you trying to accomplish in the political arena or community service arena?
Well, at this stage of the game, I just want to stay busy and stay positive, and I'm at the point in time where I can pick and choose what I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I like being in that position. Um, and that's a position of strength for me. Uh, and take care of my grandkids, see them grow and develop. Both of my children are doing very well in their careers. So at this point in time, it's kind of getting ready to roll out the bucket list.
All right, now you say the bucket list.
The bucket list.
It's so funny, man. I was maneuvering through my house today, moving some stuff around, and I ran across my bucket list from over 10 years, 20 years ago, and I was scared to look at it. And I was like, I ain't gonna do this right now. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till I got time because I might want to cry. You know,
Right, right, right.
For those that don't know what bucket lists are, let me help you out. The bucket list is things that you would like to do before you kick the bucket. Okay, and kicking the bucket means ain't being here no more. I for one have lived my life, since a very early age with the attitude that I don't want to get to the end and people be standing over me, memorializing me, talking about he wanted to do this, he wanted to do that, he coulda, woulda, shoulda. I don't want that to happen. When I get to the end, I want people to be able to say he did this, he did that.
Exactly.
you know, I
Exactly.
want I want it to be a different type of conversation. I remember the time, okay? So that's where as you get older, you realize that time is getting short to be able to do some of these things. So your list starts to change and adjust accordingly, you know. So I definitely, if you don't have a bucket list, get one. Okay, put one together. Have you some adventures before it's too late. Okay, so I definitely understand about the bucket list. Well, look, we're at the midway point of the show where we shift gears a little bit. Let me change the images on the screen here. A couple of shout outs I want to make while I'm doing this. Shout out to Jeanette Loggins. Shout out to Paula Gilmore. They always drop in and check on the show. Appreciate them coming by. Now, coming up in November, or this is November, in a couple of weeks, actually, November 20th, you've got an event coming up. Now, I think this is hosted by your foundation, community foundation, open innovation community foundation.
Open
uh
Invitation Community Foundation.
okay, so let's talk about that, and then let's talk about the honoree a little bit. So
Okay.
let's talk about the foundation first. We got a plugger up here where they can see the information, so let's hear what you got to say about that.
Okay, Open Invitation Community Foundation is a foundation that I put together to advocate, educate, and motivate for social change within our communities. A lot of things that are happening to us and that have happened to us is because we are not a part of the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a perfect example. When the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of the United States were formulated, there was not a black person to sit down at the table to give any kind of input as to what the rules are, what the structure is, what the foundation of what this country is going to be established in. We've always had to follow the rules. Thus, we have the kind of society we have today because we've had to follow somebody else's rules instead of being in a position to make rules that are going to be beneficial to us.
Mm-hmm. Now, people of dark skin color.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, just to be clear, I don't
Sla-
want nobody misunderstanding when you say us, who you talking about. Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Slavery was somebody's rules for us. It wasn't rules that we could abide by. It was kind of force fed to us. So we're in the 21st century. We cannot and should not live like that. So that's the basis of the foundation is to advocate and educate so that we can have a movement for our growth as a people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have made some strides in growth, but the foundation and the formulation of this country did not include us at the table.
No, it didn't. Nope.
And as I've gotten older, that's something that's kind of perplexing to me that I hope before I leave here we can do some things to change the mindset and change the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how this foundation was formulated and put together. And my end goal is to make sure that I teach and educate my grandchildren because I want this to be theirs to move forward with. Now, my grandson is only 10 years old, but I
Mm-hmm.
think this is something that he can have, that he can develop on far beyond the years after I'm gone.
Mm-hmm. I got you. Yeah. So, how long has the foundation been in existence?
We've been in existence 2 years,
Okay.
and we continue to work and do service events and activities. Uh, hasn't changed my calling. It's still my calling, but at a different level.
Okay. So, targeting young people to give them the mind to make changes for their generation and affect future generations. That's kind of where you're going with this.
Yes, sir. Most
Okay.
definitely.
All right. So now, you did an event. You didn't do an event last year because of the pandemic. Is that what it
Correct.
was? Yeah, because
Correct.
you did a year event. Was it a couple of years ago where the community celebrated you? Um,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
for so many years of service in the community. I think you drugged me out to be the MC or something. Me and Bernard shared MCing duties on that day, and was a great event. A great event. A lot of people came out and celebrated you. A lot of old friends. See, I only have since '75 dealing with you, but you had people that was there when y'all was kicking rocks in the schoolyard in grammar school that was there
Yes.
celebrating
Yes.
you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And literally kicking rocks in the parking lot.
I know. I know. That's what little kids do, kick rocks. And it was a beautiful thing to be able to see all those people coming out to help celebrate you. and had nice things to say about you for the most part. Because I was gonna roast you, but they said this is not a roast. Don't do it. And I was like, oh, okay, I won't do it. You know, I know your dad was there. He was there along with many other family members, so we had to keep it, PG for the most part.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Because I can remember the time hanging out with Kendall Parrott was a lot of fun in the 70s. And y'all have heard me talk about the 70s, how we had good drugs and good sex, and I'm telling you, boy, we was having a ball and living the life, and
Free and easy.
yeah, and we got to throw in a name in there that was a part of that, which is one of your honorees at this event coming up is Roy Michael Robeson. And Roy is funny. When I connected with him, we got a chance to talk a little bit about those days. And Roy was a radio personality that worked on one of the local stations, and he also worked at one of the hottest nightclubs in the South suburban area during that time in Dalton. And Roy made a name for himself, you know. So it was good connecting again with him, talking to him. 70s was a long time ago, so to be able to talk and come to find out, he remembered my brother, Brad, and he and Brad had talked today, as a matter of fact. And Brad called me up as soon as he got off the phone. Man, let me tell you what me and Roy talked about. I was like, they said they laughed for a whole hour talking about the good old days. So why did you pick Roy to honor on this event?
Well, when I sat down and talked to the board, I said we need to do something that will, number one, help raise funds for our social justice scholarship program, but to honor someone that really is legendary and made a name for himself and made a name in the Chicagoland area and in the Midwest. And I brought up the name Roy Michael Roberson from WBMX Radio. And the board was in agreement with it. So on November 20th in Dalton, not at the Nimbus, the old Nimbus, but at the Dalton Park District, we will be honoring Chicago radio legend, Thornton High School alumni, Harvey, Illinois' own Roy Michael Roberson for his over 40 years in the radio industry, but most significantly, when he started out in the Chicagoland area, um, being on WBMX radio, being with the Hot Mix 5, being at the number one nightclub in the Midwest, and really the number two nightclub in the country next to Studio 54 was the Nimbus.
Okay.
Uh, Roy has always carried himself in a very professional manner. He's been a mentor, he's outreached in his years of service, and uh, just a good person to honor and recognize for uh, all the work he's done in the radio and communications industry.
All right now. Now I got to give a shout out to one of my co-hosts, Professor Reggie Miles is on the line, tuned in with us. Shout out to him and all the work that he does. That man works 7 days a week, man. He ain't playing. He works with us on Street News Now, on our Thursday show with Lee Michaels, Chris Bass. We also have Buck Wow, Mike Love, and myself. It's called Six Guys and You. And Roy came on with us a couple of weeks back, you know, and it was so funny because he was having technical difficulties. I'm gonna say because he was on his cell phone, And during the the conversation, he kept putting the phone to his eye. He had his phone up there like this, and like like he was trying to listen and see at the same time, and I'm like, that ain't a good look. But he talked a little bit about his history with Lee, because Lee was his boss at BMX, and they kind of reconnected and talked. And then Roy talked about connecting with Mike Love, because not the Mike Love that we got in Chicago area, but Mike Love from St. Louis. He lives in Dallas now. And Mike was his boss, I believe, in St. Louis when he was at the radio station there. So they got a chance to reconnect and have some conversations. Like, is you the Mike Love from whatever station it was? He's like, yep, that's me. He's like, man, how you doing? So I'm glad that Roy is getting celebrated now, because I do remember him back from the '70s as well. Um, you know, hanging out with him at the Nimbus, like he said, that was the spot to be, and being in the booth, watching him work, and hanging out, and the celebrity status, because you and I were celebrities at the time as well. We were DJs and performers in nightclubs in the south suburbs, and we worked our way through all of them at some point in time. So we had a camaraderie with DJs and radio personalities throughout the area. The Sham Chapmans. I didn't know Reggie until recently, but he was doing his thing back then. But we were doing our thing, because Kendall and I started out working in a nightclub in Markham called the Blue Dahlia. You know, and from there we kind of ventured out to a little bit of everywhere. Apollo South, uh, Benji's, and I know, help me out here, man. I know you know the names, man. I can't remember all them places, man. You know how long ago that was?
City Life,
City Life, yeah. Southern
Copper
Lounge,
Box,
yep. Southern Lounge,
Sheba.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, because we were doing our thing back then. We were young guys, had hair in it.
7 days a week, 7 different clubs.
Yep, had hair back then and everything. I mean, we carried the fro just as good as everybody else,
Yes, sir.
back then. So to see Roy be celebrated at this time is a beautiful thing. And I noticed I'm reading on the flyer here, because we got the flyer up. Lester Long with the Dalton Park District, you got his name on there. Is he the president of the board for the district now?
No, they renamed the building
After
in his
Lester.
honor. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, Lester has been on my show, so I know Lester very well, good friend. And every now and then I'll call him up and say, "Hey, what's up?" And he say, "Hey, man, I'm out of town." I'm like, "Okay," you know. But the building is named after him.
That's correct.
The facility, and then you've got a featured band, Robert Burks and the Home Team Band, right?
Yes, Robert Burks used to be the band director for the Shylights.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the guitar player,
Yes.
the one that passed away. Uh,
No,
Man, I can't.
I know the other one that you're talking about, but Robert was with Marshall for about 4 years.
Okay, all right, and now he's got his own band.
Yes.
Okay, well that ought to be a great show. There's only going to be one band. You're doing a DJ too.
Yes.
Who's the DJ?
Believe it or not, Roy Wells, who's the chief of police over in Phoenix,
Okay,
um, he does an event down in St. Louis every New Year's Eve, and he and Roy are real close.
okay,
So I was able to contact him to see if he was available, and he is available. So It's basically going to be like a big reunion celebration.
Okay, good, good, good. Now, see, you have several sponsors listed on here. Let's talk about them. We don't want to leave them out. I recognize some of the symbols. The only one I recognize is the Dalton Park District. So you got to tell me about the rest of them. Who are those other symbols?
The Dalton Park District, because we're utilizing their facility.
Yep.
Thornton Township Supervisor Frank Zuccarelli has always been uh, an ongoing supporter of mine, and I thank the township and the board of trustees for their support. WW Towing
Okay.
is a sponsor. They do a lot of municipal towing throughout the Southland. Um, Midwest Infrastructure is a solar and broadband company
Okay.
out of Oakland, California. And I'm trying to think. I think that's it on there.
Yeah, that's all that's listed. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
see anybody
yeah,
else, that's listed as an event sponsor. Now, your tickets for this event are $40 purchased through Eventbrite.
correct.
Masks are required. Now they're going to be checking temperatures. So you got to, is this a vaccination free event or what?
No, this is a temperature test and mask mandate. We want to be socially conscious and socially safe for everyone that is in attendance.
Okay, but
And they can purchase the tickets through Eventbrite. They can either look up through Open Invitation Community Foundation or Honoring Roy Michael Roberson. Either way, they can pull up and purchase their tickets. And if not, we will have tickets and seats at the door.
okay. So how close are you to selling out?
We're about halfway there. We're still about 18 days out. And as you know, we always kind of wait till the last week of an event. So seats are still available. Good seats are available. We got some other surprises that will be going on. We will have a best dress contest, best dress male, best dressed female. So please dress sharp. We don't get an opportunity to do that anymore. But as well as I do back in the day, you had to
Clean all
come
the
to the
time.
club sharp.
We clean all the time, brother. We was sharp, bro. Three-piece suits. Oh man, real shoes. I mean gaiters and leather. Man, we was spit shine. We used to go down there in
Got to wear
Harvey.
your dobs.
Yeah, used to go down to Harvey, the docks, and let the hunchback shine your shoes for you.
Yes, sir.
We used to. People don't know nothing about that. They ain't from the area. They don't know nothing about that. Now I see that they're gonna have a buffet dinner. So is that being something you having a special caterer? You want to mention them? Shout them out.
Yes, the caterer for the evening will be Benita Stewart. We are finalizing the menu. I will just say that it will be very tasty and very filling, and the portions will be plentiful.
Well, it's a buffet, so they can get as much as they want, right?
Well, everybody will eat
And there you go.
accordingly.
I hear you, brother. And then you say it's gonna be a cash bar.
Will be a cash bar. My
Okay.
goddaughter will be bartending that evening.
So it's a family thing. You got all your family working somewhere.
Yes, it's called free enterprise.
He said yes. I know that's right. I'm not mad at you. But it's going to be a good time had by all. Now, how
Yes,
long is the event going to last? I know it says from 6 to 10. So you got an after party or something like that?
6 to 10, sir.
Oh, okay.
6 to 10:05.
What they say, they ain't got to go home, but they're going to have to go somewhere.
Yes, there will. You know how we used to do back in the day. Last call for alcohol.
Right. Right, right, right. Well, that's a Saturday night. That's why I asked the question because I figured it might be an event, and then a part two somewhere. That's why I asked that question.
Well, wherever there's a part two at, um, it will be announced at the event.
Okay.
As of now, I don't know of a part two. It's not like when we used to hang back in the day. We are in our 60s now, so part two will probably be part of part one as well.
Oh, I know that's right. Look, 10 o'clock come, you won't be bothered with nobody. Like, if y'all ain't had enough fun by now, you on your own. But it's
Exactly.
but it is an early enough event that if they wanted to go hang out, you're already dressed. You didn't ate. So you can probably venture out. And I know it's always something going on in Chicago that you ain't got to end it. You can just make this the first part of the evening and
This is true.
continue on to the rest of the evening. It could be a good date night.
Yes, most
Perfect
definitely.
date, like nice and live entertainment, a DJ, get a decent meal, get a partially drunk. Don't want to get all the way drunk, partially drunk, and then continue on to the killing floor, as we used to say. you know
And Ron, here's the best part of it all.
okay.
The music we used to play,
Yep.
that's what it's going to be all night.
I know that's
Real,
right.
real music.
Real music.
Yes,
No samples.
no samples.
No hip hop.
More bounce to the ounce.
No bounce to the ounce.
You know, stuff that we used to play back in the day.
I know what you're talking about. So
Re-
you ain't gonna card them and say they got to be over 50 in order to come in, are you?
no, no. You look. You can be 35 and get educated.
I know that's right, brother. I know that's right. Say like share the knowledge. Come on in and
Exactly.
see how we do it. You know.
That's right.
I know that's right, brother. That's a beautiful thing. Now is this? I know this is the week of Thanksgiving, isn't it? November 20th. Isn't
It's
that the
the week before Thanksgiving.
right? The weekend before Thanksgiving, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So people are going to be in holidays, festive type mood anyway. So is this going to be the only event that you do for your foundation this year, or do you have some other things in the schedule?
This is the only thing that we have going for this year. We are planning some things for next year. We're working on a project now called Let's Talk About Us. And Let's
Okay.
Talk About Us kind of peels back the layers of African Americans in America because we don't talk about us. We don't talk about our value to ourselves. So we are working on a major project that we want to unveil in 2022, and it's going to be called Let's Talk About Us. That's part of the advocacy and the education.
Okay. So you got bigger events on the horizon coming up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if they want to get tickets, I see that they can contact your number. Is that your number, listener? 708
Yes, seven.
913
That is correct.
Okay. They can contact you directly. And now, is it assigned seating or is it general seating?
It's general seating except for the reserved seats for our sponsors who are sponsoring the event.
Okay. So, in order to get a good seat, you have to get there a little early. Doors open at what time?
Doors open at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
We plan on starting as close to 6 o'clock as possible. We want to maximize the evening for everybody.
Okay. So what kind of award is Roy going to be getting? Like a plaque, or you're going to get him a Escalade or something, or what kind of award is he going to be receiving on this night?
He will be receiving a crystal based upon uh, his legendary status as a Chicago radio legend.
Okay.
So it will be. something significant to say thank you for what you've done and for being a voice of the people for many, many years, not just in the Chicagoland area, but Dallas, St. Louis, Fort Wayne, Indiana, where he has been on the radio as well.
Mm. So no Escalade? You ain't getting a brother no Escalade, man?
I don't have an Escalade.
Man, we got about 4 minutes left in this show, man. I want to thank you once again for filling in. This is actually was a last minute thing. I got to be transparent with my people.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm the B celebrity today.
yes, I had a young lady scheduled to come, and then she contacted me on Sunday, talking about I can't make it, I can't do it. And Kendall and I had talked about this event probably about a month or so ago. And I was saying, man, I would love to bring you on my show, but I'm booked up. I'm all the way booked. And then when she canceled out, I was sitting there looking at my phone saying, aha. I called him early on Sunday morning, as Lionel Richie would say. I was like, hey, man, guess what just happened? I got a slot open for you to come and talk about your event. And of course, he said, sure, I'll do it. Like he was so nonchalant and knew it was going to happen all the time. you know. But I appreciate you filling in on short notice, being talk about your foundation and some of your escapades throughout your 40 years in public service. I applaud you and salute you for all that you have done, and I can't thank you enough. You're a friend to the show. You're always welcome to come back and hang out with us again. The event coming up. Do not go to sleep on this event, you all. Saturday, November 20th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. At the Lester L. Long Banquet Facility in Dalton, Illinois. The information is right there on the plugger. You're looking at it. All you got to do is just call up, get a ticket. Are you offering, if they pre-purchase any discount? There's just $40 whether you come the day of or beforehand. Any special?
It's $40. It's a fundraiser for our social justice scholarship program.
All right, you heard it. So as always, I like to ask my guests what it is you'd like to leave with the people before you get out of here today. So what you got for us?
I'd just like to, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. And I'd just like to say to all the listeners that are listening today, be careful, be safe, protect our future, and God bless.
Amen. Very profound words. So once again, I cannot thank you enough for filling in. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about this event, and I know it's going to fill up. It's going to be sold out. So don't wait till the last minute to go running down there talking about is it too late? Get your ticket. You know you want to go. Get your ticket. Be there. And if you don't want to go, just make a contribution. That's all. You can always do that. Donate your ticket to a homeless person and then buy them a suit so they can go. you know? Look, Kendall, you stay right there. Don't go nowhere. We're going to change the scene a little bit. I want to once again thank everybody for tuning in and listening. This is my donation information. Please make contributions to support what we're doing here on the Ask Dr. Ron show. Go over to the website, ask-dr-ron.com. Support my vendors. You can find all of my social media over there. Go to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, and share. Hit the notification button so every time we make a post, you'll have an opportunity to know it because it'll notify you. We appreciate you. We'll see you guys again on next week. Thank you. Love you. Stay safe.